Hey, it's your editor. Yeah, I just got your manuscript. Not bad for a first draft. Yeah, I really liked it. You got a few moments to talk about it? I have some notes. Great. I think there's maybe three things I'd like to touch on. The logistical stuff, like the font and the binding, the plot, and my highlights. So, before we talk about all the juicy content, you mind if if we discuss something a little more concrete? Okay, cool. So I contacted a few publishers, and I think we might go with paperback for now. Since this will be a first edition run, I think it's a little safer just to go with paperback. If you want to do a reprint with a hardcover, I'm sure we can have that arranged sometime in the future. And as for fonts, you're cool with talking about fonts right now, right? Okay, great. So, when thinking about fonts, usually the first thing I might think about is it's probably serif or sans serif. I'm usually of the mind that serifs, the little pointy things on each of the letters, make it a little easier for the eye to glide from one letter to the next. However, it's not the most unheard of thing if you want to go with a sans serif for your book. I think the general rule is sans serif for digital display and serif for print. To give some context, I believe most of your previous revenue came from paper format. So that's just a little bit to consider, particularly with your demographic. Don't worry, we don't need to hit all the details right now. I can bring a few examples of your writing in various fonts next time we meet. I just wanted to get a general idea of what you might like for next time. We can meet for coffee or something, and I'll just bring a binder full of all kinds of fonts and book sizes. So, until then, uh, did you want to have a preference, or do you want me to just go with whatever? Sure. I'll be sure to have that ready by the next time we meet. For the flow of the writing, I found it mostly easy to follow with the general story beats, but I thought that there were a few parts in the middle that didn't add too much to the overarching story. And maybe there's a few descriptions in some scenes that might go on a little too long, in my opinion. I mean, I kind of wanted to cut them. They almost seemed a little bit unrelated. So, for the first part, maybe adding in a few more details that might help strengthen the scene's connection to the overall plot might be nice. But, well, honestly, those parts weren't too big for me. I mean, sure, they were, something I felt like should be corrected, but it didn't really break my reading flow that much. Honestly, what I found most noteworthy was the dialogue. It had a certain, it just felt so real, you know? For instance, quite often I might, read a manuscript, and it feels like the dialogue doesn't really flow, or it feels a little bit stiff, but, well, if we go to, oh, take chapter 4, for instance. That heart-to-heart between the two characters from so very different walks of life, and yet they felt a certain connection. It was amazing. As I was reading that, I thought, wow, I really feel that connection. That, that veracity. That really makes it feel like it's coming to life. As I was, yeah. And I like that not everyone is exactly on the top of their game either. Of course, there are moments where people are witty and funny and know exactly the right thing to say to sound cool or romantic or whatever, but there are also equally as many moments where you can really feel the struggles and the little missteps of the characters, and that makes them feel that much more endearing. They're not perfect. They're human. And even that littlest bit of awkwardness makes our characters seem so relatable. I think that's something you should really emphasize going forward. Well, plot-wise, I did think it was a little interesting when the characters felt like they needed to grow up, so they did that, special ceremony. But I guess if that's what you believe is most important to the story, then I guess you can leave it in. Well, overall, how did you feel about the book? Were there any parts in particular that you felt were really strong or kind of weak? Oh, yeah. Um, I guess I can take a look out for that on a second read through for me. It seemed pretty good, all things considered, but, my first pass was more of a general overview. I'm sure I'll catch all different kinds of things with a different lens as I'm going through the pages again. And, have you thought about the cover yet? Were you gonna go more figurative, kind of artsy, or did you just want some pictures of people that look like your characters? I'm familiar with a few artists that might be able to, make what you like. So, like, depending on whatever you're looking for. Sure, sure. I won't rush you. But I'm actually kind of curious now. What exactly was your writing process? Did you just sit down and write the first thing that came to mind? Or did you plan it all out, like some kind of master framework? Was it like regular writing, like consistent every day, or was it more in bursts? Well, I guess it does work best for you. I hear that it's hard for a lot of people to find their stride when it comes to writing. Yeah, that internal voice of, should I even be writing right now? Or, I shouldn't write that. Probably won't be a good idea. Just those internal doubts. But I'm glad you got it done. And I'm really happy for you. It's a big accomplishment. Getting all your ideas down on paper, or a cloud file, I guess. Now I just gotta help those ideas become refined, like polishing a gemstone so your work can shine for itself. Yeah, I'm sure you'll do just fine. But for now, I think I'm gonna take a second read through, focusing on all the stuff you pointed out to me. When I'm done, I can bring the edited manuscript back to you, if you're ready. Great. How about we solidify meeting up later? Like, yeah, but we get some coffee on the weekend. Great. Well, I'll see you soon. And, good work.